Hello, welcome to the corny blah 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 show with me, corny blah 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 my show.
Hey, what was that? What are you doing?
My show.
What? But again? But you already tried that and it wasn't even that good. Owie! Ow. Seriously, we need to put all this stuff back before... Come on, guys. Guys, what are you doing? Come on. This episode's going to be long enough as it is. I can't have you... But I was just trying to stop him from doing your show.
My show.
No, I told you that you don't get to do your own show. You get to be guests on my show.
Oh.
Can I do something cool this episode since I tried to stop him from doing his own show? Have you caught up on your Undertale lore yet? Wasn't there a special kind of flower that turns into a goat when it eats lots of hearts? Not quite, sorry. Oh man, that game is so confusing. Tell me about it. But then, can I at least have something? Like pie? He really likes pie. A lot! Yes. Fine. Next time I get pie, which is like never, I'll give you some, okay? Yay! Now let me do my episode. Oh yeah. Well, that kind of ruined any cool introduction that I was going to do, but yeah, Undertale is got a lot of mysteries. So naturally, a lot of people have come to interpret certain aspects in different ways, and some of these interpretations have become so popular that a lot of people may have completely forgot exactly what is and isn't directly stated or implied in the game. But that's why I'm here. So, from ideas that, well, never confirmed by the in-game text do have lots of evidence going towards them, to ones that are completely made up and yet everyone still believes, here are 10 theories that most hardcore Undertale fans believe that nevertheless still remain theories. Oh, by the way, this list is going to be mostly focusing on Undertale since I came up with most of it before Deltarune came out, so that game will be a topic for another day, for sure. And I should also say, if you guys know of any evidence for or against any of these points that I don't bring up, please tell me in the comments, because I'm not going to pretend that I have this game entirely figured out. So yeah, here we go. Number 10. A red soul signifies the trait of determination. I feel like a lot of us who are very immersed in Undertale's lore sometimes forget how little information there is about soul traits in the actual game. Literally all we know about them comes from the ball game in Snowdin, of all things. The entries in the True Lab make it clear that all human souls do have determination, so why would it also be a separate trait? However, the colors of the flags all do correspond with the colors of the 7 human souls seen in the game, and getting the red flag does show us that at least 6 of these colors correspond with certain traits. It's fairly reasonable then to assume that red also corresponds with a trait, and the only trait associated with our character, the bearer of the red soul, is determination. Do you know what fills me with determination? Let me guess. Is it pie? Yeah! Do you have any yet? Maybe. Can I see it? No. Number 9. Humans can have different kinds of magic based on their soul trait. This one is kind of interesting in terms of placement because there's basically no evidence for it at all. I mean, we know that there were human wizards in the past, but nothing ever implies that their magic has anything to do with their soul. But the reason why it's so low on the list is because I'm honestly not sure if a lot of fan stories use this besides Glitch Tale, but it's something that I found myself thinking at one point that it was confirmed by the game, So I figured I would put it on this list just in case it's a more widely accepted idea than I think. And also, it's not really that important to understanding Undertale's lore anyway, so that's why it's so low. Maybe I just put this one in here as an excuse to show clips from Glitchtale. I still couldn't think of a way to throw one of the soundtracks in there though. Nah, screw it. Number 8. The mystery man is Gaster. Okay, everyone knows that we don't know this for sure, but how could I not put it on this list? Again, the reason that it's so low, even though we have no direct evidence for it, is because there is a strong implication that this sprite is actually W.D. Gaster. The main one is that the fun value that makes him appear in the game is very close in number to the ones that make the sound test room, which contains Gaster's theme, and the 3 Gaster followers appear. And really, who else would it be? Everything we know about Gaster comes mostly from connecting little dots that Toby hid throughout the game, except for a few things. More on those later. Number 7. Asgore has been the king the whole time the monsters have been trapped underground. Really, we don't know all that much about what happened before the monsters were sealed behind the barrier. I mean, this monster in the intro certainly looks like Asgore, but it's very possible that it's just one of his ancestors. Who knows, maybe this one is actually Asgore. For all we know, the monsters could have been underground for thousands of years, which seems to be implied by the more ancient-looking clothing and such used in the intro art. This could mean that Kara might not have actually been the first human to fall into the underground, just the first one in a very long time, which would explain how there were already legends about Mount Ebott even before Kara climbed it. There's also nothing suggesting that monsters have a longer lifespan than humans. Toby even had to shoehorn in a reason that Asgore and Toriel are still alive, that boss monsters, after having a child, only age along with said child. The only other reference to monster ages is when Gerson says that he's lived through most of history, but that's most likely just an exaggeration. Wow, I am getting off track! Wow, well, this episode is going to be so long, I am so sorry. Let's move on. Number 6. Kara had a red soul. Kind of like the last one, the idea that Kara's soul was red is just a straight up assumption. There isn't any evidence in the game to support this. And even if we already assume that red means determination, there isn't even anything that suggests that Kara was linked to determination in any way while they were alive. The only reason most fanfiction and fanart and stuff gives Kara a red soul is because we have no idea what their soul color actually was. Some people have guessed that this heart inside the true lab might be Kara's soul, and that certainly would be interesting, but I just always thought that that was the button you press to turn the power back on. I don't know. Gaster did work a lot with human souls. Maybe he just had an interesting obsession with them? Oh, speaking of Gaster. Number 5. Gaster and Alphys were at one point working on the determination experiments at the same time. Okay, now we're getting to the really good ones. I actually got this idea from a theory video that Camila Cuevas, the creator of Glitchtale, made a while ago. In the first part of this video, she basically proved that Gaster was the one who wrote True Lab entries 1 through 8, and not Alphys. The part that sold me on this was that the writer of these entries remembered the time that the Queen left, but Alphys doesn't recognize Toriel when they first meet in the True Pacifist ending. Camille uses a ton more evidence to explain this idea in her video, so I'll put a link to it in the description if you want to see the rest of that. Anyway, this idea reminded me of how one of the Gaster followers mentioned that it took a long time for Asgore to hire a new royal scientist, which, since Alphys was hired because she created Metaton and not because she had previously been Asgore's assistant, means that Gaster and Alphys presumably never worked together. However, this would imply a large length of time between the writing of Entry 8 and Entry 9, which doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. Maybe monsters can be in the fallen down state for quite a long time before dying, or maybe the bodies that Gaster had did die. so Alphys had to start over? That's entirely speculation, who knows?
Me!
Do you really?
Uh-huh.
Can you explain it to me then? That's what I thought. Number 4. Frisk has the ability to reset. This idea is one that, as far as I can tell, had its foundations in fanfictions and their struggle to portray the meta elements of Undertale's lore mechanics through a medium that isn't a video game. They all imagine Frisk as having complete control over the timeline, which includes having access to the reset button. However, these stories are forgetting about a major character in the world of Undertale, who would be very hard to portray outside of a video game. The player, you. When Flowey tells you about what a true reset is after you beat the true pacifist route, he makes it clear that he is not talking to Frisk. He says that you are the one with the ability to erase all of your progress, which I would think refers to both a true reset and a normal reset. Flowey even calls you by name at the end of this speech to prove his point, or rather, he uses the name that you gave to Kara at the beginning, but seeing as you would not have known that the character you name at the beginning is not the character you play as until the true pacifist ending, and you can't rename the fallen human after any normal reset, it would be fairly safe for him to assume that the name the player used is actually their own name. Either way, it's not Frisk who can reset. Kind of hard for fanfics to work around, but still good to remember that the player is an integral part of the story, especially as we start trying to figure out Deltarune in the next video. Number 3. Sans can remember other timelines. What? Of course he can! He basically tells you so in the genocide route. Okay, hear me out a second. Yes, there is a lot of evidence suggesting that Sans can remember other timelines, but there are also a lot of counter-arguments that suggest that maybe he doesn't. During his battle, Sans mentions reports of some sort, implying that he has done some research on timelines. It's quite possible that he studied them so much that he can tell exactly how many times you've died. After all, he does say that the way he can tell is based on your expression, not the fact that he remembers killing you so many times. Even in the pacifist route, he can tell whether or not you've died just based on the look on your face. He even needs to give out a secret code phrase or two so that you can prove to him that you're a time traveler. While this certainly just could be a troll, and all of this could just be him acting like he doesn't know as much as he actually does, which he is known to do, I'm not sure that this is the case here. While he's talking to you in Grilby's, I think he sincerely does not realize what's going on with Flowey and Papyrus. In some somewhat hidden dialogue, Flowey says that Sans has caused him to have to reset multiple times. If Sans could remember other timelines, then he would likely remember what Flowey is capable of, and do much more than simply telling you to keep an eye out in order to protect his brother. He would also probably know that the timelines jumping left and right, stopping and starting, was also at one point caused by Flowey, and not just us. Wow, that one was almost like a mini theory within itself, having evidence both for and against it in the game. But these last two, oh boy. Number 2. Gaster is Sans and Papyrus's dad. I mean, sure, I guess it's a possibility, but out of all of the different possibilities for who Gaster could be, why do so many people believe this one? I mean, seriously, if it weren't for just how many comments there are on the game theory video where they first claim that Sans and Papyrus are two halves of Gaster, saying, "I thought Gaster was Sans and Papyrus's dad," and fairly recent comments too, then this wouldn't even be on the list, because I would have thought that this was just another one of the many things that people speculate that Gaster may or may not have been. I mean, the Mystery Man sprite looks kind of like a skeleton? Kind of? We don't even know that for sure. Gaster has become such an integral part of Undertale lore for hardcore fans, but we have to remember that there is still so much we do not know about him. You can interpret him however you want for your fanfic or whatever, but just remember that everyone's individual interpretation of him comes from nothing more than speculation, because we have nothing to work on other than that. Well, that theory may be slightly strange, but at least it has some basis in the actual game. Number 1, the Void. I honestly don't even know why I wrote a script for this one, because I feel like I could just rant about this for a while. Like, seriously, who made this up? It wasn't Toby Fox. There is nothing to support the existence of the Void in Undertale. Not from the Gaster followers, not in the game files, nowhere! Well, I guess some people would interpret the Void to represent the game files, which would make sense in a meta Undertale sort of way, so I guess it technically does exist? But there's still nothing suggesting that Gaster actually went there after his experiment. You remember how I said that we know basically nothing about Gaster? Well, one of the few things that we do know about him from the Gaster followers is that he was shattered across time and space. Shattered. As in, into multiple pieces. There's no one place that he was sent to that Sans can just use his magical machine to rescue him from. Or maybe there is. Or at least, maybe Sans thought there was. But it wasn't the Void. But that's a topic for the next video. Or the next 2 videos. We'll see. Wow, this is going to be a long video. I know I tried to sound like I 100% knew what I was talking about here, but if there is any evidence for or against these things that I didn't bring up, like I said before, please tell me so in the comments. I'm not going to pretend that I have this game completely figured out. Anyway, you've probably had enough of me talking for now, so I'm just going to end it quick.
Can I talk instead then?
No, I'm just trying to end the video.
Aw, man.
So yeah, if you like this video and you want to see more, please consider subscribing and all that. The next video is going to be looking at what Deltarune's existence could mean for some of the longest standing mysteries in Undertale. So click that notification bell to get notified right when that comes out, and I will see you guys then. Bye!